Hey everybody, it's Sam from Wrestling Overtime with your news and updates for July 15th, 2020. I wanted to get you updated on the card for July 18th Impact's Slammiversary that they are having. Of course, at the top of the card is Eddie Edwards versus Ace Austin versus Trey Miguel versus a mystery wrestler for the vacant Impact World Championship. Now, I kind of want to discuss just very quickly that I hope this mystery wrestler is good because I think this match is garbage. I absolutely hate to put the belt on any of these guys. Ace Austin and Trey Miguel are not ready for it, and I don't know, to me they just appear to be way too little to carry Impact for the next 6 months or so. Now, I've seen on the internet people guessing who the mystery wrestler is going to be, and some people are saying it's going to be Tessa Blanchard. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, it's not going to be Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard, when COVID-19 pandemic started, informed Impact Wrestling then and there that she was in Mexico with her fiancé, Daga, and that they were getting married in the summer. If she could not guarantee that she would be able to get back in to Mexico for her wedding, then she was not leaving Mexico. Impact, it is my understanding, at that time said take a couple weeks, it's fine. Well, President Trump instituted the travel ban then, and she would not have been able to get back into Mexico, which is where the wedding actually is, and then they're going on a honeymoon. This wedding has been planned, I guess, for over a year. So it is not her. She is not leaving Mexico before her wedding. The only thing that I think is weird is, does that mean Talia Blanchard and Magnum TA are not going to be at her wedding because they can't get into Mexico either, and both have been reported to be in the United States? But let's get back to the card. We are also going to have the Knockouts Championship on Slammiversary, which is Jordan Grace versus Deonna Purrazzo. I think Purrazzo takes this one. I think Impact is ready to hang their belt on her and let her carry this division. The X Division champion, Willie Mack, is going to be versus Chris Bay. The Impact Tag Team champions, the North, are going to be versus Sami Callihan and Ken Shamrock. Boy, oh boy, I never thought I would see Sammy and Shamrock be a tag team. But I look forward to this match and look forward to them seeing how they're going to work together and everything. There's also going to be a number one contenders knockout gauntlet match. And it's going to feature Rosemary, Nevaeh, Susie, Kiera Hogan, Kyrie Valkyrie, Tasha Steele, Alicia Edwards, Kylie Ray, Kimberly, Havok, and Madison Rayne. I'm not real sure where they're going to go with this. I think there are a lot of people that if Purrazzo gets the belt, that she could have a lot of different programs with. And so I am interested in seeing who actually comes out of this gauntlet match. And I'm also wondering, does Susie turn to the dark side and take on Purrazzo that way? And then finally, we have the TNA World Championship match that they brought aboard, I guess, last week with Moose versus Tommy Dreamer. I like this match. I like both of these characters. I am excited about this. I love that Tommy Dreamer came up to Moose, said that the TNA Championship Committee told him he was the number one contender. Moose said that committee doesn't exist. And Tommy Dreamer said, well, neither does TNA. So I was pretty excited about that. I think they're going to have a good match. These guys are veterans, and they're really going to put on a show. Now, let's go back. The last news and updates were July 7th, I believe. And I wanted to go ahead and give you the Raw rating for July 6th. It was the second lowest in modern history, and they did 1.69 million viewers and 0.49 in the 18 to 49-year-old category. And Raw is just going downhill. And I think this is basically proving the point that everyone was making when they fired Paul Heyman. This is not Paul Heyman's fault. You got rid of Paul Heyman and your ratings just aren't going up. Another announcement that was made is WWE 2K Battlegrounds is going to be released September 18th on a lot of major platforms. I don't play the video games, but I'll tell you what, I hope it is better than the last one because the uproar about it even affected me. And like I said, I don't really even play video games. Interesting tidbit to me, even though they're not wrestling anymore right now, the Bella Twins were signed by Michael Strahan and Constance Schwartz-Moroney to Smack Entertainment, which is SMAC Entertainment. And I wonder what plans they have for them. Didn't know that Michael Strahan was involved in this, and am not sure that how great of an agent and everything that he is. So I'm interested in seeing in the next 6 months or so, what are the Bella Twins going to get involved in? Drew McIntyre, he spoke to TalkSport, and he basically said he had to convince Heath Slater to do Monday's Raw show. That Heath Slater was totally against it, and Drew convinced him. Well, there has been a lot of rumors dropped, I guess, especially by Rhino, on Impact Wrestling that Heath Slater is coming to Impact with the I Got Kids line that Rhino keeps dropping. So I look to see Heath Slater in Impact pretty soon. Loved him, though, on Raw and his bulked up stature that he's got now. Vince McMahon last week wished his mother a happy 100th birthday. Yeah, you heard me right. 100th birthday. He said he hopes that he has her genetics. I hope not. No, I don't mean it that way. I don't wish him to die or anything like that. I hope he has a long life. I just don't want him to be in charge of WWE forever. Anyway, Britt Baker posted on Instagram that Shadia and Big Swole are conspiring against her. That she needs surgery to fix her broken nose and deviated septum. So, I love Britt Baker now. I love her now that she has turned into a heel and she is obnoxious. They couldn't have made a better choice for Britt Baker. Also, something that you need to check out. To celebrate reaching 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, Ring of Honor uploaded the first match in the trilogy of Samoa Joe versus CM Punk. This started in 2004. I watched this match. It's unbelievable. You got to go to Ring of Honor's YouTube page and watch this match. The San Diego Comic Con is calling themselves At Home. It's the San Diego Comic Con At Home. They announced this past week that on July 23rd, they will be having a panel of Mattel and WWE. And I'm going to make the assumption that they're going to be talking about the action figures, especially since AEW recently came out with their action figures. But scheduled to be at that panel is Edge, Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, Ricochet, and Rhea Ripley. They are going to be the WWE superstars on that panel. San Diego Comic Con At Home is free this year. You're going to be able to, from what I understand, go into different rooms and see each of the panels on video on your computer screen or on your phone. So for those of you who would like to know more about Mattel and WWE's relationship and what they're going to be doing in the future, then tune into that on July 23rd. Charlotte Flair also took to Twitter stating that she had some free time, she's having surgery, and that she hopes that now everyone will quit body shaming her. She talked about how around WrestleMania in 2018, she was feeling quite sick, and she found out that she had a breast implant that was leaking, and the silicone was actually poisoning her. Because it was around WrestleMania time, and of course they needed her, she decided then that she would do the quick fix solution. She thought it would last. However, it is now she has found out breast implant is leaking again. She has not been poisoned by the silicone, and she is not extremely sick right now, but she is going to take the second option that they offered her that's going to try to solve the issue long term. But the recovery period obviously is going to be longer, and she understands that, but she just hopes to get a lot of rest and come back feeling refreshed. Now, PW Insider reported Sammy Stitch was arrested again at 4:42 p.m. on July 12th for operating a motor vehicle with a suspended license, eluding a police officer, and being in violation and contempt of a domestic violence restraining order. The judge is supposed to rule on it this week whether he is going to take back her parole and that whether she will have to go back to jail. Was excited for this Monday night's Raw on July 13th to see Shayna Baszler and Bianca Belair were back. We hadn't seen Bianca Belair since April. Yes, we had seen her some on Main Event, but she had not been seen on, Raw since April, and Shayna had not been seen since May. And so to get them back on TV was really refreshing, especially Shayna. I want her wreaking havoc on the women's division as a whole, not just Raw, but just the women's division as a whole. Randy Orton versus Big Show in their unsanctioned match is set for next week's, which is July 20th Raw. And This week's July 13th Raw had the lowest in W history's ratings with 1.56 million viewers. Our one had 1.58. Then they went up some. People joined in hour 2 to 1.6 million. But then it dropped completely off in hour 3 to 1.5 million viewers. In the 18 to 49-year-old category, which is the key demographic, they were at 0.48, which again is not good. Lana, you haven't been seeing her on TV here recently or hearing a lot from her because she tweeted last week that her mother had COVID-19, was in the hospital, and she was asking for prayers that her mother was in serious condition. She later tweeted that her father had COVID-19. And then I believe it was one day later, Rusev, who is going under the name Miro, tweeted that he had COVID-19. Now, today, well, I guess it was yesterday, Lana wrote that her mother is better. She is now out of the hospital and she is resting at home peacefully. She did not give an update on her dad or on her husband. So we'll have to keep watching that. Want to make you aware that R-Truth, his game show, and it's called R-Truth Game Show, is up on the WWE Network. And you've got to watch this. If you've got the WWE Network, you definitely want to watch this. This is a game show where he asks questions of different wrestlers, and they are on video. They're socially distancing, and it is pretty funny, as all R-Truth things are. Then I want to talk a little bit about something serious. Tony Khan, he actually spoke to the New York Post, and he discussed some fairly important things. He started off talking about Pac. A lot of people have been tweeting Tony and writing Tony Khan about where is Pac and when is he going to come back. And he explained Pac is in England. In order for him to come to a show, he has to come over to the United States, quarantine for 2 weeks, have 2 negative COVID-19 tests, show up for either a taping or a live show and have a negative COVID-19 test, and then wrestle. Now, he can stay in the United States for a while if he would like. However, his family obviously is in England. So when he flies back, he has to quarantine again and then quarantine in England. So it's almost a month of quarantining that he has to do in order to do a couple shows. And Pac at this time does not want to leave his family and does not want to go through the quarantining issues at this time. And Tony Khan is fine with that right now. He did say, however, that they truly do miss him and want him back whenever he feels that it's safe. Then he spoke about Jimmy Havok. He talked about how Jimmy Havok came to their attention during the hashtag Speaking Out movement, but he had already been on the radar for having a lot of different problems. He seemed to suggest that Jimmy Havok possibly had a drug and alcohol problem along with the problem that he was having being abusive to women. He is in long-term counseling. He came to them when they asked about these allegations. He came to them and told them that he had problems and that he wanted help. Tony Khan said because he did that, they felt like they really needed to help him to see if he could make a change in his life. So he is in long-term counseling. He made no mention whatsoever of him coming back to AEW or when he would be out of counseling. Then Tony Khan talked about Sammy Guevara. Now, many have noted on the internet about how Cody has spoke that Sammy is going to be returning. Tony didn't go into detail on that, but he was very specific in talking about suspending Sammy Guevara and how Sammy is going through different counseling than Jimmy Havok because he has a completely different issue than Jimmy Havok. So Sammy is going through counseling, different kind, and then, according to Cody, will be rejoining AEW Wrestling. Tony went into detail, however, that this particular podcast, where Sammy was talking about Sasha Banks and said a very abusive comment. It was 4 years ago. Sammy was 21. Sammy stated that with him being that young, being just into the wrestling business, just getting crowds' eyes on him, he was trying to fit in, be cool, show off with the guys on the podcast, and made a comment that he never should have made. Tony Khan agrees with Sammy that had this been now, Sammy Guevara never would have made that comment. No one has ever heard him make any kind of comment like that recently. They have not had any allegations come up since he's been in AEW or where he was before. So they are pretty sure that Sammy Guevara going through counseling will help him and that he will be back in AEW. Now, Cody spoke to Talk Sport and was asked about CM Punk. Cody's comments were very vague, and he kept saying, this is not just about CM Punk. This may not be about CM Punk. This is not about CM Punk. But he was making a statement overall to let not only the wrestling community of fans know what is going on in AEW wrestling, but I think he was sending a message to wrestlers in general, not just CM Punk. He made the comment that a lot of people think that the wrestlers are running a wrestling company. And he said even though the wrestlers are involved in creative, in recruiting, in putting on a show, on production, in different departments like that, they also have very smart, fiscally conservative people around them to control the money, to control the budget, to control what they are spending, when they are spending it, and how they are spending it. So they can't just go out and throw money at anybody and everybody. And he was very clear saying that he didn't know what, CM Punk asked for, but he knew that it was a lot of money. And Cody was also very specific in saying, it's not my money. I can't go out and spend someone else's money recklessly. And he continued talking about the money issue and how this was a company and there were lots of different factors in it. But the thing that got me was there was a sentence in there that was quoted by Cody. He said it did not concern just CM Punk. But I thought it was very telling. He said, quote, if the passion isn't there, then the money isn't there. Unquote. And I think that's a very telling statement because I think that's what a lot of people have been saying about CM Punk. They're not sure that CM Punk truly wants to wrestle anymore. A lot of people are saying they believe that CM Punk wants to get into announcing, he wants to get into analysis, and talking about things like that. If that's what he wants to get into, AEW is not his place because they have proven that they're not going to get rid of Excalibur. They have two of the greatest announcers and play-by-play artists in the business in Tony Schiavone and JR. And as a backup, they have Taz, all of which are better than CM Punk. So if he is wanting to get into announcing, talking, analyzing, like he did on WWE Backstage, I suggest that CM Punk start his own podcast. And then he can give his views and everybody can tune in and listen to them. However, I think that he doesn't want to make anyone mad because I think eventually his wife, AJ Lee, will come back to the business. And I definitely look forward to that. As always, I want you guys to make sure that you're coming over to Wrestling Overtime's Facebook page, our Twitter page. You're letting us know if you have any questions, comments, problems, or protests. And of course, as always, you can write us at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com and let me know anything that is on your mind because I am always working overtime for you guys, the fans, and I'll talk to you soon.